What's good, everybody? It's your boy Batman, and we have another reaction video that's going to be coming on through. This was the other YouTuber that I was speaking about that was kind of brought up in my recommended, and that I was kind of associating when I was looking at the other guy, New Horizons. And I believe they're also like associated with each other as well, because I think they've been in some videos together too. But we're gonna be checking out his content. If you guys don't know who he is, check him out. He has Frog Thor as his picture, so that's something. Has about 3,000, subscribers, about to get 4K. So he's doing his thing, Naruto content. So if you guys love Naruto content, the vibes and everything, definitely check him out. Give him a subscribe if you love the channel and everything. And we're gonna be basically be going from here. Oh, whoa. You hang on. The video's not too long. It's only 6 minutes, so it's not gonna be too bad. Obviously, my reaction, make it a little bit more longer. But so we're gonna be checking this video out. We're gonna be getting into it, and see how it is. The title is "What if Sasuke fought Lee in the chunin exam?" Which this is something that eventually I actually might even eventually make my own video on, because there are some people that are out there that actually think fucking Sasuke just stomps Lee. You know what I mean? Just with like some narrative arguments and other stuff and etc. And then there you have other people that look more into it and actually really analyze and and just like and basically check him out and compare feats and then look at how Sasuke did against Gar, with his transformation, and they kind of compare like with Naruto and Neji and all that and yada yada yada. And so it gets to a point where it's like, maybe does Sasuke actually win? Is that really the case? So that's just something to, for me to put out there. There is both sides for who's basically beating who. If they had their potential rematch, and this is actually something that I feel like Kishimoto could have done as well. So let's say like Lee was able to beat Gaara. Let's just say that happens, right? He beats him. I feel like they would have fought each other again, and that would have just made more sense since they fought the first time, and basically just showing that hard work can beat talent. So with that put into consideration, it is an interesting battle. And this is just something, I kind of want to react to just to kind of see what his thoughts are, his arguments and everything. It's going to be one or the other, obviously. But we'll see how it goes. I'll give my thoughts. Remember, guys, whenever it just comes to reaction videos, what's it called? I'm just spitballing here. I'm going off of my memory, going off of, of what my thoughts from it and everything. And obviously, I can't really have an official conclusion or who I really, really think takes it 9 out of 10 times until I'm doing my own homework and really looking into it, you name it. I'm always going to be humble. I'm always going to be very, straightforward, not disingenuous or ratty or anything like that. I'm going to give both characters the benefit, of the doubt and just go from there. And that's always the mentality I'm going to have. But, if there's ever things where, it just may seem either one-sided or more obvious or my memory and you name it, and that's happening, don't get mad or anything. End of the day, it's Naruto. We can all be friends and love each other. Let's get into it.
That's been on my mind is, everybody talks about Sasuke versus Neji in the chunin exams, but that always seemed obvious to me with Sasuke slapping the shit out of this blind haired, I don't know what he is, it's weird, his veins, ugh. But I want to take a look at the strongest member of Team Guy. Yes, you guessed right, 10-10.
What?
Let me stop. I'm discussing Rocklee.
He's a lot more comical.
Sasuke duked it out in the chunin exams, and what would be the result? Now, I'm gonna start off by shooting straight. Sasuke obliterates Lee.
Damn.
You must be thinking, but Lee dropped the weight. He's so cool, man. Hey, man, just hear me out. This is.
Damn. This man said Sasuke team. Like, he didn't even, give him both, he didn't even, fucking come in and say, oh, Rocklee could probably win or maybe take it. Nah, he said Sasuke straight up bodies this man. God damn, the disrespect. For any Rocklee fans or Guy fans out there, I know that, when they saw that, they were like, what the, what the gates and this and it, bruh. Don't worry, you got me. I'll come up with some arguments and some counters and whatnot for anything. Let's see what his angles are. Let's see what he says and everything. But let's get into it. That's funny.
Really well backed. Nah, man, believe. Enough jokes. So the biggest point to start off with is their fights versus Gaara, and the best comparison we have is that Lee with this 5 gates barrage, despite how hype and cool it looks, was actually unable to do any real damage to Gaara, at all. The 5 gates could not break through Gaara's sand armor and a makeshift sand cushion or whatever. Whereas Sasuke's Chidori actually could break through the sand armor, plus a defense Gaara set up. And we know, from his fight with Kimimaro, that when Gaara actually pours chakra into the defense, it's quite formidable. Not saying it was as strong as his Shikaku shield, but...
Okay, so basically the first response you can have, at least in defense for Rocklee, for that. And once again, it's just me spitballing, kind of saying, you know what I mean? Or basically, kind of just, reacting and whatnot. If I were to obviously make my own video or really look into it, then I can let you guys know, whatever. But I'll just go from there. So, as for Lee's defense, there's one reason why this argument can't work, okay? For one, you're comparing the fifth gate, which is a massive amp itself, which is speed to power, you name it, to the point where it was overwhelming, Kakashi, all the other Jonin, fucking all the Genin, to where he was moving so fast you couldn't even fucking see him, like if he was in his own dimension, just from him moving with the fourth gate alone, just destroyed the whole stadium, blew everyone away, like, fucking, he was like a monster with the gates, okay? And he was pretty fast and impressive, while he had the weights on, but whatever. It wasn't enough. And then when he took off the weights, this man had crazy fucking speed where he's teleporting, you name it, and giving Gaara a run for his money. So there's that, right? And then when he goes into the gates, it's over. It's over. It's not even a fucking competition at that point, So basically, what you guys got to understand is Sasuke doesn't have Gaara's durability. So that's why this argument is just stupid. It doesn't matter. Like, narratively, sure, in comparison, like, to how he did, and he was able to damage, yeah, it's fucking Chidori. It's a ninjutsu-based attack that is very powerful, that you can make more stronger with chakra, and is designed to pierce and assassinate people. Like, while the fifth gate is designed to break bones and deliver physical force and brute damage and basically be unavoidable and unblocked and cannot be dealt with. It is literally stated by Guy that the whole point of that is to basically be completely defenseless and you can't do anything once you're fighting a gate user. Okay, that's the whole point of the gates. Alright, so with that into consideration, if Lee is in the fourth gate alone, or especially with the fifth gate, Sasuke is not going to be able to react or do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got to remember, with the Sharingan, okay, it can allow you to perceive and help you name it, but if the opponent is faster than you, it doesn't matter and you're getting fucked. You know what I mean? Like, so it's literally to the point where it's like, if Lee is in the gates and he's doing his thing like exactly what he did with Gaara, Sasuke does not have the same durability. Just from that kick alone that he did to Gaara would probably break his fucking neck. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but I'm just saying, like, Sasuke is not built like Gaara. You're talking about a guy that literally solely relies on an absolute defense, sand itself, to defend against powerful fucking attacks, unless you're using like a hacks ninjutsu, to negate that, or if you're using a ninjutsu that has this insane fucking AP like the Rising Gun or fucking Chidori, that's a little different, or better yet, if like maybe like something like Kimimaro, shit like that, where he's just fucking bulldozing through his sand like he's nothing, because the amount of power of the curse marking. So unless it's a factor like that, then yeah, there you go. But there's that to put into consideration. And a lot of people still forget Gaara has an absurd amount of fucking chakra. The more chakra you have, the more powerful you can be and whatnot. Imagine incorporating that into his armor and sand, so his stamina's crazy, his chakra, like, and he's a fucking tail beast like a Jinchuriki. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Lee's not going to be able to beat him even with the gates. Like, the best way to explain it for you guys got to remember, imagine being more powerful than someone and more faster, but then they have healing regen, okay, and also fucking, and can use chakra to keep defending themselves over and over. To where basically, even though you're more powerful than them and they can't do anything, they can basically take your hits, if that makes sense. and even heal, which is shown that Jinchurikis can do. They can heal and recover. It's kind of similar to Madara fighting Hashirama. Madara can be able to injure him and fuck him up all day, every day, but Hashirama's just going to heal. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So overall, that's the main reason why Lee lost. Lee fought against an opponent that was basically his kryptonite. Similar to Kasame fighting against Guy. Kasame's kryptonite. You know what I mean? This is just, factors that people just, for some reason, are either oblivious to or just don't care about or think is irrelevant for some reason. And it is important. It's a big fucking deal. So that I'll say at the very least, in defense of Lee, at the end of the day, there is not a single fucking durability feat that Sasuke has to prove that he can fucking tank Gates' level of power. You know what I mean? It's just not there at all. There's no narrative argument for it. There's no nada. He's not tanking that shit. You know what I mean? It's come on, bro. You know what I mean? What are we doing here? So overall, I'm just gonna get that out the window. But either way, let's continue and go from there.
Just making a comparison, Gaara has extremely formidable defense. So this is
Correct.
the point. The Chidori could breach something. The 5 gauge barrage, multiple hits, could not. And I think that's very important moving forward in this fight. Just to kind of go over the Chidori having superior attack potency. It's pretty clear. The series makes that clear.
And Chidori, so yes, the Chidori's attack potency obviously was, in comparison, especially with Gaara, was able to, fuck him up, you name it. So there you go, that's great. But once again, what does a Chidori do if you're faster and they can't even react or defend themselves? Come on, bro. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If Lee's not getting hit by a Chidori, it doesn't matter.
It's a blade, so I don't think that's really something a lot of people are going to disagree with.
And then once again, like I said before, Sasuke's durability is not connected to Gaara. It's not the same at all. That's you know what I mean? That just makes no sense to even argue that. If Sasuke was using Susanoo, or maybe using a technique that is to give him defense, or maybe using chakra like Neji or Naruto, yeah, sure. But his body, come on. You know what I mean? What are we doing here? And one thing I will say is, at least for Naruto, you know what I mean? It has been shown many, many times where characters can utilize their chakra to help with their durability into tank attacks and stuff. But that you're talking about characters that are doing that, you know what I mean, where they're fucking in Shippuden, you know what I mean, and all that type of shit, Whereas with Sasuke, once again, if you analyze everything he's done all the way to that point, there is not a single fucking durability feat that he has that would allow him to tank what fucking Lee could do. It's just blatantly not true,
If you think about it also, it makes some sense narratively why the Chidori would have to be stronger than the 5 inner gates. And the reasoning for this is that why would Kakashi teach Sasuke a technique weaker than the 5 gates if the 5 gates could not beat Gaara? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when Kakashi saw that whole fight. It just doesn't make sense narratively why he wouldn't teach his pupil a technique superior to it. But moving on from there.
So, to answer that, so basically, when you guys talk about the Raikiri, for instance, if Guy, Lee or Guy or whatever, just went into the 5th gate, just 5th gate or 4th gate alone, whatever, and they go to punch and then Kakashi's doing his Raikiri. 9 out of 10 times, the Raikiri is winning that fucking exchange. It's the goddamn Raikiri, bro. It's a very powerful technique, okay? It's literally an S rank technique, at least Kakashi's technique, and then the Chidori that Sasuke uses is an A rank, okay? Great, cool. But what people once again forget is the Gates is not just known for piercing hacks, ninjutsu, AP ability. It's known for its speed and brute force, to where it's basically you can't react or block or use or do anything, to where you basically just get overwhelmed, fucked up, and then bam, you're done and you're beaten and you're dead. Okay? And that's basically it. So, unless Sasuke can miraculously, somehow, some way, cover an entire Chidori around his body like he was doing in Shippuden and all this other shit, you name it, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Come on. And then not only that, fucking, we're talking about Fifth Gate Lee, which don't get me wrong, Fifth Gate Lee and Fourth Gate Lee is a fucking beast. Insanely fucking powerful, okay? But, like, you know, that's also something to put into consideration. You talk, if Lee had 6th, 7th gate, you know what I mean? Like, come on. What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, at that point, you could even argue that maybe a punch from the 6th or 7th gate, you know, at least with that current Lee, okay, I'm saying, could be able to maybe stalemate the Chidori or, you know, or whatever. But at the end of the day, if I had to bet money, I'm still betting on Chidori. But either way, once again, the purpose of the gates is not really to contend with something on that level of what it's made to do. The gates is to overwhelm your opponent to where they cannot defend themselves and do massive amount of brute crushing damage, and then there you go, the opponent's dead. Unless they have some hacks ability or defense type ability, you know what I mean, or they're a fucking tail, you know, or not a tail, but or Jinchuriki, then then the gates is actually really bad, and you're just basically be wasting your power and attacks. That's all it is.
And on top of being a far stronger technique, another point I want to bring up is that Kid Sasuke with his Sharingan can move and counter around at such speeds, whereas Lee himself cannot make such movements. That's kind of why his attack is super linear in the Gaara fight. And even when he did make a big movement, it tore his muscle fibers and whatnot. So essentially, if these opponents, like Lee and Sasuke, started rushing at each other with Chidori
and then another thing, like, this is to make this argument just go completely out the window. And I'm not trying to shit on Thunder God. Like, there's no shade, no beef, no nothing. You guys are probably like, damn, Batman. Damn. What do he do to you? Like, that's not the case. I'm basically arguing for the people that would argue for Rocklee or Guy. You know what I mean? Once again, if I were to look into this, whatever you name it, and, you know, for all I know, I could say Sasuke wins. But as of now, memory, you name it, whatever, and at least in defense for people to argue for either Lee or Guy, because I'm just being real with you. There's a lot of people that just shit on Guy and Lee. Like, fucking, it's just, come on, bro. You know, like, come on. You know what I mean? So, like, it's one thing you guys got to remember. Lee fighting against Sasuke with the Sharingan before the Chunin exam started was shitting on him with weights. Obviously because he was faster than Sasuke. But he was doing a lot of damage to Sasuke. Like, he was fucking his ass up. Like, Sasuke was getting beat, okay, bullied. And then he was about to kill Sasuke, or at least maybe incapacitate him. I don't think he would probably do a full primary lotus. That'd be really stupid to do against, you know, someone in your village. You get in trouble for that. But he was either about to incapacitate Sasuke, okay, or he was going to just straight up kill him, okay? And that was that. Clearly narratively implying and showing that, you know, Rocklee could be able to beat Sasuke. You know what I mean? Then give Lee the gates to that same, you know what I mean, Sasuke with his durability. Like, come on, bro. Like, what we doing? Like, come on.
Sasuke would pretty much be the only one to be able to counterattack, whereas Lee would only really be able to do super linear movements. So even if you want to argue with Lee being faster, which he's not, but, you know, I have that point later.
What?
Essentially, you have it.
Lee's not faster? No fucking shot, bro. Oh my god. Like, once again, it's understandable. It's not like this is out of the ordinary. Like, fucking, you know what I mean? People have their narrative and all this other shit, whatever they argue, but I'm just saying, bro, if you compare feats as well, Lee is faster. He literally has feats to prove that, so I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's even stated and confirmed by Guy, you know, like, the whole point of that those gates and everything is to give you such power and speed to where you literally is unblocked. Like, that was literally developed to defeat Neji, which reminds you, Neji has a Byakugan that can see all around him, while the Sharingan can only perceive what is in front of you. You know what I mean? So Neji has an even better, you know what I mean, like Dojutsu, at least for self-awareness and visibility, you know, and sensing. And that was designed to destroy and beat his ass, okay? What the fuck does Sasuke do? Even with his Sharingan, that's not gonna do anything. And then not only that, if you really want to be an asshole and have an argument for Lee against Sasuke, you do know Sasuke has to take a hot minute to charge up his Chidori. The only reason why he was even able to pull up his Chidori was because, like, Gar was in his little ball of sand. So if we're talking about that Sasuke at that particular moment, he's not going to have time to do his Chidori. You know what I mean? Like, Lee's just going to be able to go into the gates, okay? If push comes to shove and Sasuke's going to be fucked and he won't even be able to do Chidori because he has to literally take a moment and charge it up and then be able to fucking move. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, it's not until, like, you see him fighting against, like, the full transformation Gaara to where he's able to just do it and then, use it. That's where he's more comfortable and he's good now. But if we're talking about, like, them first going and in the beginning of, like, a chunin exam Sasuke with the Chidori is not even an option because he won't be able to pull it off. While Rocklee could just go into the gates and he's good, So, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But anyway, we'll let that be that and we'll move on.
A fighter who can perceive events at such speed and one who can't. So if they're rivaling each other in speed, it's very much Sasuke's coming out on top. We cannot counterattack.
Now, one thing I will say though, this Sasuke though, like in comparison to Rocklee and base speed, like just with without the weights as well, they're the same, and Sasuke's gonna be shitting on Rocklee because of the shotting gun. You know what I mean? That's a blatant fact. That I absolutely do agree. But the moment Lee does the gates, he's climbing over. At that point, it's not even a competition. I mean, that's just being very dishonest at that point.
Himself.
And then not only that, if you even look at the chunin exams during the conversation with Guy and Kakashi, even Guy said what is Kakashi thinking of? He should know even with that level of speed alone. And with the speed that Lee used with the gates, which was even greater than what Sasuke was doing against Gaara, Guy even states and says, that's not going to be enough either. So what is he doing? You know what I mean? And he's like, what does he have up his sleeve? And obviously the trump card was Chidori, which is smart because if you need to obtain a level of speed to utilize Chidori. And two, you also need the shotting gun to use it in order to perceive and counter and react. So with that being said, that's why it's perfect for Sasuke. And that would be perfect against Gaara, okay? Because Sasuke can be able to perceive his sand attacks, you name it, whatever, dodge, and then just hit him with the Chidori and he's good. There you go, GG. Okay? So, overall, that's just something to think about. You know what I mean? And either way, it's just that very fucking simple. And another thing as well, just putting this out there, yes, Sasuke was able to damage Gaara, but if you guys are forgetting, Gaara was hurt that whole time, bleeding, and what happened? He just went into his transformation like what Naruto does in desperate times, desperate measures, and just healed and was fine and getting more powerful and just fucking up Sasuke. While Sasuke's getting more weaker, losing more stamina and chakra, and then getting to the point where he can't even utilize Chidori and he's basically fucked. I'm just saying, bro. And then another thing, Naruto, base Naruto, okay, with no Chidori whatsoever, alright, was able to utilize, he had to weaken Gaara's defense with a kunai explosion first, from the weak point, but just, Naruto with his taijutsu, with, all his fucking shadow clones, were able to do a good amount of damage to a full transformation, not full transformation, but a partial transformation Gaara, and was doing really well. And then basically Gaara was basically forced to transform into the Biju transformation to just body all those clones and everything because he was getting actually overwhelmed and beaten. So overall, bottom line is taijutsu. It's not like that taijutsu is actually ineffective against Gaara. It's just not really an effective measure because you have to really dish out a lot of AP or consecutively in order to bypass it, unless you're just a monster with taijutsu strength and chakra, and then it will happen. But obviously that's really hard with the gates, at least especially for Lee at his current point, because you only have a certain amount of time utilizing the gates, okay, and with that limited amount of time, there's only so much damage you can be able to dish out. If Lee was able to use the gates without any, double-edged sword situations, to where, he would either get weaker over time or better yet, eventually just can't use it. Now he's just completely fatigued. You know what I mean? he would have killed and beat Gaara. Like, that's another thing that a lot of people forget. You know what I mean? Like, the main reason why he wasn't able to finish Gaara was because he's kind of like on a time limit. The more he's in the gates, the more his body's getting fucked up. I mean, you know what I mean? The more your body gets fucked up, the more, you know what I mean, weaker you're going to get, okay? And then two, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, you know, you're talking about a guy that has plenty of time, stamina, you name it, and durability. Like, so it's like, come on. I mean, that's another thing. So, overall, I just want to put that out there for you guys, you know? And then another thing, like, fucking... Like when Neji admitted, like, this is a little bit separate, but it's relevant. When Neji did like his amount of chakra rotation to counter Naruto's Kyuubi cloak, like Naruto's Kyuubi cloak, you know, and all that was pretty fucking strong. Where this man's like teleporting and shit, and, like doing like body flicker type shit, you know, and basically stalemating with Neji's chakra over and over. You know what I mean? Like so, and just with like that Kyuubi Naruto could probably actually be able to really fuck up Gaara as well, you know. So it's like. Taijutsu is not completely out of the equation. I want you guys to kind of know that as well. You just have to really dish out a lot because Gaara has so much chakra and stamina where he can constantly use his sand to protect or use his armor as sand to protect, you know what I mean? But it takes away a massive amount of chakra from him, you know? So, just putting that out there.
This isn't anything new. But I do want to discuss the speed just because someone's going to bring it up, and I feel like I should. 5 gates is pretty fast. Which is not okay. Let me get you. That's not an acceptable answer. So Lee himself admitted Sasuke had surpassed him after Sasuke began running with Chidori, and he blatantly states Sasuke moves at a speed beyond him, which he has to be referring to his max speed since he already.
Okay, so that's blatantly true, and that's just being a rat. So no offense, but so he's referring to literally his speed to where. When he had without the weights and everything. It not only is it narratively implied and emphasized over and over and over, the same. It even shows Rocklee what compared to what Sasuke is doing. You know what I mean? And then fucking like, and you know what I mean. And so basically, what's going on here? And mind you, I can show the whole context and everything as well. Guy even states that Lee's speed was way greater and better than what Sasuke was showing in this fight. So like, what's the point? You know what I mean? So just with that being said, but with this whole thing, literally Lee just says you have the same body speed that I have. He's not saying referring to the fucking 5th gate. What kind of shit is that? like it for one, it's not even shown, and two, like that's just blatantly ignorant. You know what I mean? It's clearly showing to weightless Lee. So this is an interpretation-based argument. You know what I mean? To make it now scale Sasuke with Chidori to 5th gate Lee of speed, and that's just blatantly not true. That's very disingenuous. So I'm just putting that out there. What's it called? With Lee, with the 5th gate and everything, you guys gotta remember, this motherfucker was moving so fast to where literally he could not be seen. Okay? Like, and just doing some Dragon Ball Z type shit. Okay? Like, it's just blatantly not true. While with Sasuke using Chidori, it just shows him running down the stadium, damaging the ground and everything, and you can clearly fucking see him. It's not like he just goes and gone. You can't see him. You know, like, that's not fucking true. You know what I mean? The Chidori does make you faster, okay, but not to a point where you're fucking Gates level of fucking speed. Like, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? Like, so that's just really stupid. It's really, really dumb. You know what I mean? And that's just not true at all. Okay, at all. And like I said, not only is it shown over and over to what Sasuke's speed is to Rocklee, okay, he had to obtain Rocklee's speed, which remind you was Rocklee without weights, in order to utilize Chidori. To then give him Chidori, you know, that'll basically give him, you know what I mean, like, you know, basically more speed, you know, whatnot, and he's going. Okay, and that's basically it. And so he's able to utilize Chidori because now he has the speed as Rocklee, which even Kakashi, I think, also stated before of the reason why he had to train Sasuke and get him to that speed so he can utilize Chidori. You need that speed for it. Okay, so overall, this is not true. If you analyze that whole fucking scene and actually read through it, Guy is literally stating Rocklee had better speed and everything, and Kakashi was even saying, like, yeah, no, he needed speed in order to use Chidori. So I'm just putting that out there.
For to Sasuke rivaling his base speed earlier on in the fights. This is the second time, and it's counterintuitive to say he wouldn't be comparing Sasuke's max speed to his own. So, it's not that crazy even for the Chidori to be above the 5 gates in speed, as like even Kid Kakashi was able to become lightning timer while heavily fatigued by like chopping a bolt of lightning. And there's only like lightning timer feats really come into play in Shippuden. So, we know that the...
Not necessarily, bro. Once again. Not necessarily, bro. Like, once again, Rocklee, he had some insane feats, bro. Like, that motherfucker was moving so fast. Like, just speed blitzing, nobody could even see where he was at. He was basically untrackable. Like, just saying.
Some crazy
like, once again, if you even watch the anime, the guy was moving so fast, it was like he was in his own dimension. Like, his own realm. And then would come and then just, you still couldn't see him, but he was just fucking up, Gaara. So I'm sorry. Rocklee is taking speed all day, every day.
Is super quantifiable in terms of speed. All we know, he might be supersonic from the fight with the sound shinobi, but honestly, the best, most concrete thing we have is Lee blatantly stating that he is above him in speed. And if you aren't buying this, which, granted, I can't hold you, it's kind of like I'm throwing a lot of like curveballs here. The series itself makes notes of Sasuke being the strongest opponent Gaara has faced thus far. This is mentioned numerous times by the characters.
Yes and no. Main reason why is because if you compare, how Naruto did to Gaara, Naruto fucking completely shitted on fucking Gaara in comparison to what Sasuke could do. Sasuke was only able to damage Gaara with his Chidori, and either way, it didn't do anything. Gaara was just completely healing and recovering, you know what I mean? And that was it, while Naruto was literally beating his ass and dishing out over and over and over a crazy amount of AP with just taijutsu alone, okay, in base, alright? And literally, like, to the point where forcing him to go into full fucking Biju transformation. Like, that alone is a feat. And then having to summon the Toad to compete against a Biju threat and everything. And Gaara literally states that Naruto, like, just absolutely exceeds his expectations. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly noted that Naruto was the strongest person Gaara fought. I'm sorry, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like, at least at the current point where it's going with, with Sasuke fighting against Gaara, that's fine, that's fair. You know what I mean? And once again, it's because, he has Chidori now and he's actually able to hurt him. But either way, like, that's just that. Rocklee performed very well against Gaara and did just fine. The only reason why he lost, unfortunately, because Gaara was his kryptonite. It's just that fucking simple. You know what I mean? Like, if Rocklee was able to last a lot longer with the gates and keep dishing out the damage and everything, he would have killed Gaara. Not only that, in the end towards that fight, Gaara only survived because he used his gore as cushioning and that sand to defend himself as well. Like, it's literally even stated. So it was like a last minute thing Gaara did, and that was it. But either way, like, I'm just putting that out there for you guys.
The data books, or even Gaara himself, multiple Sand Shinobi like Tamari and Kankuro note Gaara's excitement at fighting a stronger opponent. Gaara himself notes Sasuke to be the strongest opponent, which, I mean, if you don't want to believe me, believe the guy who fought both of them. And even if you don't believe that, the first data book outright states that Sasuke is the strongest opponent Gaara has faced. The show itself heavily implies and states outright that Sasuke has surpassed Lee.
Careful. Oh no, it's the data books. I'm sorry, bro. There's so much shit the data book says to where it's just, you know what I mean? Come on. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to talk about it.
You're learning Chidori and training in Taijutsu. And, Lee himself is depressed how much stronger Sasuke got. And overall, Sasuke was supposed to surpass Lee.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I'd be fucking depressed too. I'd be actually really pissed. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that I can utilize the gates, but it kind of fucks up my body and I only have a time limit. You know what I mean? It can basically work on anybody except for someone that has, like, healing regeneration or insane fucking defense abilities to just constantly kind of, stalemate it or just go back and forth, I'd be pretty pissed too. Like, you know, and another thing too, like, you know, it's just it's an equity thing. You know what I mean? It's like I'd be mad as well. Like, imagine you being able to obtain crazy level of power and speed to surpass people, but the only reason why you couldn't beat a certain individual is because of him having a fucking tail beast and his hacks and defense abilities. Okay, well, another person, all that person has to do is just get his same speed. You know what I mean? Weightless, and then fucking, and then just utilize chakra with Chidori, which is made to pierce basically anything. Okay, and can just go through all of fucking Gaara's defenses, you know, no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it kind of fucking sucks. I'd be pretty pissed too, you know? So, and obviously at that point in time, you know, Rocklee, you know, obviously if you let him train more, let him get stronger or whatever, or if he's especially, you know, able to use the 6th gate and whatnot, you know, or not even that, even the 4th or 5th gate, and he's just getting stronger. Like, let's say he never got fucked and everything and he just started training after, like, at that point, yeah, he'd be more powerful and he could be able to dish out more power and everything, you know. It's like, it's very, you know, stupid. Like, look at Guy and Shippuden, you know, look at Rocklee and Shippuden. Like, I mean, they get more powerful. So it's just, at that point in time, unfortunately, you know, Lee just didn't have enough to just output the same that he, you know, could do against a Chidori, and lost because of it. And that's just that simple, you know. But either way, like, once again, it's separate from Sasuke. And if Lee's doing the same feats and everything to Sasuke, Sasuke's fucked. He cannot tank those attacks from the gates. If the man was getting fucked up by just base attacks from weighted Lee, what the, you know, how does he survive gates level attacks? You know, come on.
Comparatively, it was to teach Sasuke of the lesson of talent alone doesn't mean jack, which led Sasuke to put in the work mixed with his talent, and he blatantly surpassed Lee as a result. It was basically, it showed him to put in the work versus just, you know, relying on your quote-unquote genius alone. But that's pretty much the video. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing.
Oh, wasn't a too bad video. Once again, I already had an expectation. It was going to be one or the other. Either like the narrative arguments, you know what I mean, and whatnot, and yada yada, and then now, for some reason, just Sasuke being Gates' level of power and speed. You know, or, you know, then you have the other people that have, you know, another argument for the side of actually looking at the feats. And if you do compare that, Rocklee does take that then. You know what I mean? And then on top of it, like, it's literally stated numerous of times by Guy and everything, and shown. The whole point of the gates is to literally make it to where you cannot defend yourself. You know what I mean? And it's basically, you know, like, you know what I mean, to the point where you can't defend yourself. It's stated. Data books, Guy, you name it. You know, so just puts you on a whole other level. And even Kakashi's over here saying, like, even with the power of the gates, like, it gives you, like, the power of the Hokage. When you use the 8th gate, it can give you the power of the 5 Hokage. Like, the gates are no fucking joke. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, like, come on, bro. Like, it's really silly, you know? So, overall, we'll kind of keep it at that. I'm going to like the video because, once again, it's not a bad video. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you know, those are the type of arguments he's doing. You know, and you know, at least, you know, and it's fine. It's fine. You know what I mean? There's nothing. It's not like he's coming out with something outrageous and saying, you know, like, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you know, on the level of, like, Kakazu beating Pain and all this other ratty or crazy shit. You know, it's not like that. You know, like, it's fine. It's respectable, and I'll basically leave it at that. So we'll conclude the video here. This video is probably a lot more longer than it needed to be, obviously, because of me talking and reacting. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Who fucking takes it? Lee or Sasuke? You know what I mean? Another thing you guys also got to remember, you know, if Lee and Sasuke were to fight, obviously both are going to keep training. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't make any sense for Lee to still be where he's at when he fought against Gaara, to where then he's fighting against Sasuke in the chunin exams. You get what I'm saying? So Lee would technically be even more faster and more stronger, to while Sasuke only obtained, you know what I mean, the speed of Lee that, you know, was during this time fighting Gaara. So, just saying, you know what I mean, if you're applying equity in that sense and manner, that's kind of bad for Sasuke, you know? But if you want to go the route and just say, like, this, you know, Lee during that fought Gaara, and then, you know, obviously Sasuke, like, you know, the time skip, then sure, whatever, you know, cool, but That's all I'm saying. That's something to put into consideration as well. Some people might be like, well, that's not fair. You should give them both the same amount of training and experience and whatever. But either way, that's it. Like the videos. Sub, guys, if you want to. Check out your boy Thunder God as well. He makes Naruto content. So if you guys love Naruto content, check him out. Comment your thoughts down below. Peace.